What's up, y'all? Good morning. How you doing? It is your weekend, the 24th of October, 2015. How was your week? You navigated past the negativity? Yeah. You're starting to see it more evident now, huh? Because you're starting to claim your true path. And they are fighting for your attention. See, haven't you noticed the old you is not used to the new you? Because now you're thinking before you act. You're reflecting before you speak. And you're grounding your feet. And it's incredible, isn't it? It is a new day, ain't it? Welcome to the new you. So how you been, y'all? Doing alright? I hope so. So, now, isn't it kind of ironic? Wasn't even 2 weeks ago we had to deal with Hurricane Joaquin, and now, because it didn't do what it was supposed to do, we got another one. Isn't that kind of ironic? If that is not a true indication of change, change no matter what, change is evident. It's going to happen. And that's how you need to look at your life. That's one thing that we can't do is stop time. You can't get back yesterday. But you can seize what's going on right now. And it is pertinent, isn't it? Because, see, the person that you're destined to be, that blessed person, is relying on the decisions that you make right now. So right now, you're in a period of reflection. And you're starting to take accountability of what makes your day to day. You're starting to understand what got you to this point, this reference point called you. So now you got to take stock, now don't you? How's that viewpoint now? Hopefully it's blessed. Hopefully it is yielding the harvest that you have invested in long ago. See, you got to understand your reality today is because of actions that was done then. And divinely, it is playing out now. But I know there may be some of you right now saying, well, Gerald, I don't like what I see right now. It's not so comfortable. And I got to figure it out. Maybe that's all that you was needed to do the whole time. To stop, ground your feet, and figure out what's best for you. I mean, we are talking about that beautiful life. No one's going to be able to see your life or experience your life best than you. So it's very imperative that you define what makes you happy. So, when's the last time you told yourself you love you? Did you wake up this morning and give thanks? Because you didn't have to wake up this morning. You know, that's one thing that our society, our community, we take for granted the things that matter most. But what's so surprising about it is those things resonate constantly in the background of your psyche. They don't go away. They don't go away. They live there. That's why it's very imperative that you have peace of mind. You do understand that that is something that cannot be bought. That is something that cannot be bartered, nor that is something that should be squandered, because these are the things that make you you. There'll never be another you, y'all. Mm-mm. So if you're spending one moment in a moment of regret, disappointment, or misunderstanding, it is your responsibility to get it back on one. Do you have the courage to get your happiness back? To seize your empowerment back? Now, I'm not talking by way of strong arming that, because that won't work. That is temporary. Why do you think I keep trying to tell you, y'all? That's why to have your presence, to have your attention is humbling. Because see, I value your life. I value your self-worth. And I'm the first one that's going to tell you, I want you to make your dreams reality. But I can't do the work. I can't. Because see, it takes 100% effort for Gerald to be Gerald. So yes, I'm going to be very optimistic. Yes, some people say, well, Gerald, you're a dreamer. But see, the difference is, no matter what the situation is, I never surrendered my dreams. I never compromised myself to a point that I had to relinquish. No, 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 no. No, can't do that. Love myself too much. And you should have the same position. Don't worry about your audience. But what you need to do is look at it for what it is. Does your audience spawn growth? Or do they deplete you from it? Because if you're spending one moment feeling like you like this, that ain't where you're supposed to be. And I hate to tell you, many people have wasted time trying to convince their environment, but more importantly, themselves, that the placement that they're in is where they intended to be all along. And they unfortunately see the reality of that they're not. They're living a lie. And your life is not a lie. Your life is not an illusion. Your life is an experience. So it's very important that you claim it. Now the question should be is, why won't you? Come on, y'all. We are literally a stone's throw from a new year, a new chapter in your life. See, you can't get back yesterday. Let me explain that to you. You can't get back yesterday. You can't. But you can learn from it. You can treasure it, which means you embody your experience. Because, see, those were your feet that walked you through that journey, no matter how bright or how gloomy it may have been shown. It is still your journey. Little did you know you were on your walk then, but it was just not unclaimed. But now I believe a lot of you are starting to wake up, and a lot of you are saying, I'm ready to do the work because I have no more tears. Please take that anger and that anguish from your spirit. Please take that pride and ego from your steps, because that is what has gotten you to this point. But guess what? Just know this. You know how the proverbial saying goes, what kills you, what does not kill you, make you strong? They said that in a linear sense because it didn't kill you, because guess what? God brought you through it. So that should tell you right there, right off the bat, that He has something for you that is so special that even then you are being protected from it, because He didn't want you to squander that blessing. So right now, you may feel like in the back of your mind, like, well, that's where I wish to be but I don't know how I'm going to get to trust him. Maybe now's the time that you're going to finally be vulnerable with yourself. That's right. Be vulnerable with yourself and admit to yourself that there's something missing. What's missing is that connection that you have with him. And when you allow yourself to come to that term, watch your life change. The most beautiful girl in the world. Oh, man, I'm a big Prince fan. Yeah, I am. I got all his stuff. Well, I got about 95% of his work. I like his older stuff when he first came out. But no, I really believe 2016 is going to be a profound year for many people because now a lot of people are not getting caught up in the hype. A lot of people are going to strive to achieve the things they need, not the things they want, because they realize the things that they wanted have no substance. They're easily obtainable. But the things that you need require the most work. And rightfully so, because we're talking about your life. Yes, a beautiful life. So if you're waking up this morning without a smile, if you're waking up this morning with anguish in your heart, don't run from it. Now's the time that you go in that emotional backpack. I keep telling y'all to do it. What's that one woe that you have had an unconditional loyalty to that you won't address? Some of you may be dealing with the aspects of physical abuse. Some of you may be dealing with the desire to feel loved unconditionally. Well, you can't attract unconditional love until you decide to unconditionally love yourself first. See, that's the measurement that is needed. I could turn around and unconditionally love you till the sun comes up and the moon falls. But if you don't understand what it is, you're going to squander it. Many people do that. And I'm not saying that out of judgment. I'm saying this out of compassion because haven't you noticed society has made a conscious decision to force feed you with the things that they think that you want? There's so much technology out there. There's so much gluttony going on in our society, but it seems like the things that matter most are hidden in plain sight. That's right. Yes, they are. Why? Because, see, they know that if you have a remnant of that, if you were able to tap into just the inkling of that, it will change your life forever. And they know they can't afford that because they know that that was an underlining tool that was used to distract you from yourself. Why do you think I always would say this? The party doesn't last forever. Because it's not supposed to. Your life experience is. That's where your wisdom comes from. That's where your insight comes from. That's where your memories come from. If your memories are made up of more bad than good, there's an imbalance there. But see, I also understand this. See, when it comes to the things you need, people don't want to talk about that now, do we? Oh, we will turn around and turn a blind eye real quick because they don't know how to deal. They don't know how to keep it real because they don't know how to keep it real with themselves. So they are just basically getting by. Well, come on now. This ain't Groundhog Day. You're not supposed to be going through this cycle your whole life, but unfortunately some people do. And those people unfortunately end up being the most loneliest, the most miserable, and the most disconnected people you will ever run into. And such a travesty. Because, see, everybody deserves to be loved. That's right, I'm talking to you. You deserve to be treasured. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be honored. But they all start when you do that for yourself. I know I'm talking to someone. I know somebody right now is saying, well, Joe, that's all fine and dandy, but look, I got an eviction notice coming. Where's my respect on that? Gerald, I need a job. You know, what about that? Well, maybe, just maybe, if you decide to step out of your comfort zone and do something that is beneficial for what you need, not what you want, it's a start. For example, why is it you always hear people say, there's no work out there, Gerald. Ain't no work out here. I can't find me a job. But yet, every time you drive down the street, there's always a we're hiring sign at McDonald's or wherever. That's a choice not to work. That's a choice. Just like there's a choice to live your life the way it is. Now, if you don't like the environment, isn't it your right and your responsibility to change it? I'm just saying. But see, I understand too. See, society don't show you what's beyond the curtain. Society just wants you to embrace what they put out, but society don't owe you nothing. It don't. It really doesn't. Because if you were to fall down dead today, guess what? Society, as you know, will continue to keep on keeping on, just as it's always been, because it's nothing but an archetype. So, when it comes to your happiness, that precious aspect of you, that diamond called your self-worth. I know there's somebody saying, well, Gerald, I've done some despicable things in my life, and I've burned bridges that I wish that I never did. What am I to do then? I'm going to tell you what you do. You give it to God. You stop beating yourself up emotionally. See, you got to understand something. We are our own worst critics. You do understand that. Ain't nobody can make you feel worse than you. You do understand that, right? That's why you have the opposite. You know those people. Those people live life with no remorse, no empathy, no compassion. They are the anti. They feel that they are entitled with no effort or merit. Some people, we also know those people as narcissistic. These people are the most disconnected people you're going to ever come in contact because they will never take accountability for their steps, which is very sad because they will rationalize their choices and decisions as the means to an end. So, in other words, if that means I must lose your association to accomplish this task, I will be willing to sacrifice you, but I have to sacrifice me in the process to achieve that goal. But guess what? If there's no love in it, it won't last. It won't last. It will actually set you up for more disappointment and despair. So that's why your self-worth should not be ransomed. So how you doing this morning? I got this feeling somebody's rolling out of a bed right now, and from the outside, all things are beautiful. But inside, they feel like they are the only person on the earth. They feel so alone. And They don't understand how they got there. Well, think of it this way. Everything is progressive. Like, in other words, if I turn around and I stop working out, which I have, I ain't really worked out. Let's be real. Gerald ain't worked out in over 2 years. But I'm about to turn that page. But if for me to gain weight, it takes a progressive period of time for that to be achieved. So let's look at it the opposite way. So if there's a goal and an objective that I want to accomplish, shouldn't it also have the same? You know what I'm saying? It should be the same process. Nothing happens overnight. You don't wake up and say, I've got the golden ticket and I'm here. No. Now, granted, I will throw this disclaimer out there. If it's ordained by God, guess what? It will be so. Those who were last will be made first, and those who were first will be made last. The reason for that is to gain insight and appreciation of where you are. Because he giveth and taketh away. No, don't he? I ain't got to tell you. Somebody going through that right now. It was all good yesterday. And you're waking up like, is this a dream? No. That was to show you what you could have once the works are done. But a lot of times, we don't understand that until the reality or the lights have been lit. And we see what's really going on. That's somebody's song right there. I love me some Kim. Oh man, I love me some Kim. Um, but I'm a firm believer of this, y'all. There's somebody dealing with, you've been going through bouts of, been having these bad dreams, haven't you? And you've been trying to figure them out, and you've been racking your brain. Stop doing that. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Stop doing that. Because in time, it'll all make sense. Yes, I'm a firm believer that God will use your dreams. He will use your physical presence to convey the intended message at the intended time to get in. Because look, we only use 6% of our brain, y'all. 6. We're talking God. If he want to manifest something, boom, right there, he can do it. So it doesn't do us any good trying to figure out the dynamics. How is that possible? You analyzing the wrong things. You need to step back and see the bigger picture on why. But give praise to what you're witnessing too. That might be your disclaimer. That might be your proverbial red flag to turn around. That might be a divine sign saying, hey, this is the way. See, I just think it's really crazy. You see all these people trying so hard to convince themselves that their world as they know it was created by their merits, and God had nothing to do with it. You know why you think that way? Because the devil used all this energy to convince you to have that mindset. He doesn't want you to have the clarity you need. He wants you to be blind so that when that proverbial disappointment is trying to creep right on in on you, you won't see it coming. But no matter what is revealed, just know God brought you through many things before, and you didn't acknowledge that. So now you see something again. He's going to bring you through it. But we all sooner or later have to grow up. And I say that out of love. We have to look at it for what it is and take account. See, don't you realize a lot of times we don't want to look at the things that bring discomfort. We do everything in our power to dispel it. Why? Because it requires us to be honest with ourselves. I was telling somebody earlier today, the first form of betrayal you'll ever go through is the first lie that you told to yourself. I know that need to go out to somebody. Somebody right now saying, this ain't my life, Gerald. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. But you're not taking accountability for it. So that's why your reality is what it is. That's why there is no love there. It's like, in other words, it's like preparing your favorite meal with all the trimmings. And you finally sit down and take your first bite and there ain't no flavor in it. None. That'll piss you off. It's the same thing with your experience. If you're not taking the time to put the ingredients in it to make you the best you, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a waste. It's a waste of time. But more importantly, what you don't realize is the things that you are attracting are things that should have never been there to begin with. These were nothing but additives of your demise. You understand what I'm saying? There are people that are connected to your life that should have never heard you breathe. You had nothing in common with them, but because of the fact that you were not in a sound place, that's why it's not good to make impulsive decisions. But we all do. We all do. You know, we do. But guess what? As long as you got air in your lungs, that's validation that you can turn it around. You can change. You can grow from it. Each one, teach one. So let's go back. Did you tell yourself you love you yet? Because I know somebody's saying right there, I ain't saying that, Gerald. That's soft. That's weak. But yet inside you cry every day. You just one disappointment from a breakdown. You know it. I know it. I feel your energy. That's why you're drinking so much. That's why you're getting high to keep the pain down. You're just functioning. And the question should be, why? Why? But I will tell you this, though. I'm a firm believer of this. God brings people in our lives for two reasons. And I was surprised because somebody already put a memo out there. Thank you. To be your lesson or your blessing. But it's up for you to determine which one. Nobody wants to be the one that is looked at as a disappointment. No, I'm not saying you sitting around like, oh man. No. I'm not saying that. But what is imperative, what is very imperative that you do is to acknowledge your failures. Sometimes you're going to fail 1,001 times, and then that next go is the right place, the right direction. You know why you're failing? It's because you're not acknowledging something. So there's a block. There's a delay. There's a disappointment repetitively. It's not that you're cursed. It's because you're not looking a little deeper. See, I understand that we learn, we function, our mentality is based off our environment. And we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of repetition. So let's flip it. What if you had a nurturing environment, a loving environment, an environment that sparked inspiration, an environment that told you what you needed and not what you wanted? Don't you think your life would be totally different than what it is? Now, I'm not discrediting your life. I'm not. But I'm just saying, think of it that way. What if you had friends that genuinely was like, you know what? That wasn't right. You should have did it this way. That's not good for you. Reconsider. But we as humans, we automatically throw a defense up before accepting what we hear. Yes, you're supposed to discern it. Yes. But come on now. How many signs do you need for you to realize that's not the way? But see, this society that we're in now, this generation right here, is the most spiritually disconnected generation to exist. They say that statistically, 1 in 3 people do not have a spiritual foundation. So guess what? Like I said in the last video, you spend half your life trying to fit in and the other half trying to heal. That's not meant for you to be. Why do you think I say birds of a feather flock together? Why do you think I say that? Because it's a choice ultimately where you ground your feet. You're not going to find that where love don't exist. You won't. Well, they'll try their damnedest to convince you otherwise. Why do you think so many people do this? You've heard this, especially a lot of my married folk, which is unfortunate, but it is reality. You always hear the man say, well, you know what, to keep the peace, I give her what she wants. You never hear him say, to keep the peace, I give her what she needs. That's why most relationships don't work. Because the least thing, the littlest thing that is required is the biggest thing deserved. How about that communication? I know I'm talking to my kings. Listen, homie, you can't go through life as the tough guy. Don't you realize those cats that walk around, you know, chest puffed out, are the most fragile? They're doing that for validation of what society determines a man to be. Same thing goes with my queens. Yes, Miss Animated. You got your volume on 20, and your justification for your behavior is because nobody understands you. No one doesn't understand you because, number one, that's not the environment you're supposed to be in. And number two, you have not taken the time to invest in understanding yourself. So it's like throwing darts in the dark, hoping that one will stick. Is that right? No, because when you think about it, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're wasting time on something that won't grow. Doesn't matter. That's why I was making light. I said, half the population wants to be kept. And for a long time, you saw these promiscuous women out here trying to pick up the shield of I'm independent. You will never be an independent person unless you're providing all that you need, which that's impossible to do because you're going to always rely on someone to survive. It doesn't matter how much money you got. You're going to always need somebody to sustain and validate you. But see, that's a two-way street now, isn't it? So at the least amount, you got to learn how to communicate. And some of the most important communication ever, because communication is never a mastered art. It's not. I don't care how you know how to articulate your words or what colloquialism you choose to use in the proper setting. If you're not willing to listen, you're going to miss what is conveyed. Doesn't matter if it's bullshit or not. Excuse my French. So, how much is your life worth? Is it worth that stolen moment? Is it worth that regret? Is it worth those tears that you cry at night when no one's looking? Let me tell you something. 2016 is going to be your year to get it right. You want that harvest? You want your dreams to be a reality? Start planting seeds today. Yeah, there's going to be a price. You're going to have to look yourself in the mirror and take ownership in your mindset. If you're basing it on the people, the company you keep, good luck with that. Because I'm going to tell you what, the people that genuinely love you, the people that genuinely love you, are not going to stick around. And you're saying, that's why I don't want nothing to do with them now, Gerald. No. That's your arrogance and that's your wounds convincing you this. The reason why they're not around is because they don't want to watch you self-destruct. They don't want to watch you they're tired of seeing you take disappointments. They're tired of it. And they want nothing but for you, the human being, to smile, to laugh, to enjoy your life. So let's look at it this way. Those people that you call your friends are nothing but placeholders in your life. They are taking up space and they don't deserve to be there because these people, when's the last time you had a spiritual conversation with one of your friends? When was the last time? I'm not talking about having a conversation just to appease somebody because that's where they are. Because let me tell you something. Real recognizes real. But I also know this. How can I tell you about me if I don't know me? That's why they say imitation is the best flattery. Imitation is the best flattery. But there's only one you. That's what makes you priceless. You know, I'm an advocate for you, my queens. I'm an advocate for you, my kings. Because regardless of what you've done, what choices you've made, you can still get back up. You can. But you got to put that first foot down. You going through something right now? Here's a $2 investment that'll change your life. Go to the dollar store, go get your composition book. Write your thoughts down. Write them down. Write them all down. Write until you can't write no more. Put that book away. Put the book down. Put it away. And then a couple days later, go back to what you wrote. I guarantee you'll find some understanding in that. Or more or less, look at what you wrote from a blind perspective. If that was not you and you were looking at that was written, and see what comes out of that. And I guarantee you'll have validation of what you wrote. But if you keep in company that only wants to waste your time and does not want to waste and does not want to invest in your growth, I hate to tell you, you are in the midst of an opportunist. And an opportunist does not need your help to expose themselves. See, they do a disservice to themselves because, see, they won't invest in their lives. They like using other people's as plateaus. But what they won't realize is this. This only shows potential of what they could have if they did it on their own. But it does a disservice to them because that's where they should have never been. Sure, it's alluring at first. Sure, it can be intoxicating because it's new. But if there's no love in it, it becomes very painfully clear. You're living a nightmare through your day. Ain't nothing worse than being in an environment and people that you rely on for guidance and support can't support you back. You know why? Because they're not doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for themselves. So if they're not doing that for themselves, they can't do it for you. And they can't do that for you because you're not doing it for yourself. So therefore, you can't measure what is needed compared to what is a want. And there is the disservice. That's why I say, Queen, I had somebody ask me that one day. Why, Gerald, why you keep saying, why you keep telling women to stop looking for their mate? Because I say the same thing to men. Because until you understand what makes you you, you are giving a preview to someone that don't deserve to be there. It's like giving free concert tickets that you paid for to someone that ain't going to appreciate it. Why? So let's throw the physical aspect. Your most precious gift, your body. You giving it to a stranger. Like one of the biggest misconceptions out there, and I saw this on was it, what show was that? I don't know if it was Fraternity Court or Divorce Court, one of them. And it was Divorce Court. No, it was Fraternity Court. Woman was involved with this guy for a period of time, right? And she speculated that he was being unfaithful. So to be revengeful, she turned around and sought out, I think, his best friend or somebody like that, somebody close to him, and slept with the guy. Now she has a baby, and she didn't know. So comes to find out, she was sleeping with both of them. And so the judge asked her, well, why'd you do that? Why did you turn around and give this man that you knew indirectly your worth? And she said, with great boast, because I wanted to hurt him. I knew that if I took something of value, he would know how I felt. Come to find out, it was the boyfriend's child, but she ended up losing out completely because not only did he not want to have anything to do with her, because she betrayed his trust. And then the friend, so you had a trifecta of relationships that were dissolved. Now that could have been a blessing in disguise, possibly, Maybe they should have never been together. Maybe that relationship with the boyfriend and the girlfriend was only meant for the bearing of that child. Who knows? But the judge was like, do you realize what you just did? You gave your gift to someone that would never treasure it. And the person that was supposed to stand by you, they're going to see you in a different light because you've broken their trust. So nobody wins. And now you have a child you have to raise. But see, a lot of times people want to play that revenge card, and little do they know that the revenge card cuts both ways. I've even seen situations where people have had the audacity to be in the mix with somebody and be on the phone with somebody else. How arrogant is that? It exists. And you got to understand, you got to question yourself. If you got to go to that extreme, what you searching for? What is it in about that person that you're with that the other person brings to the table that you can't spawn with that person? But little do you know that that person that you're aligning yourself is only a representation of you or extension of you. So ultimately, what you're searching for can't be found through them. It must be found in you first. But if you bring that up to somebody, they're going to shut you down because that's too truth, too real. They don't want to accept that because that's the ugly truth. So why put yourself in that position anyway? I had a conversation with somebody the other day about that. So, well, you know what, Gerald? I sleep with whoever I want. I pay my bills with whoever. I pay my bills, they my bills. And wherever I lay my head, I lay my head. But guess what? It never fails. Every 3 days, I always hear this. Man, I wish I had somebody to love me. And I'm like, wait a minute, homie, you dating. You out in the clubs. You got is yeah, but I wish I had somebody that I can call my own. And I didn't say something, but in the back of my mind, I said, you'll never have someone to call your own until you claim you first. So you're really doing a disservice. Because guess what? You're giving your time, you're giving access to someone that don't know the real you. They only show the aspects of you. That's why I say queen. I know some of you queens have convinced yourself to build a man. Yes, you do. You got that guy that will spend his money on you. You got that guy that will pay your bills. You got that guy that he likes to hang out. And you got that guy that likes to talk. And then you got that one guy that when the bed is hot, he cools your needs. But little do you know, if you decided to allow yourself to heal those insecurities and start loving on you, all those aspects of those personalities can be fulfilled by one man. But you best believe he better be spiritual. Because if he don't have a relationship with God, he'll never have a relationship with you. Did you hear what I'm saying? If he don't put God first, he will never put you next to him. You're just wasting time. That's why I laugh when I hear this term, friends with benefits. What's the benefit in that? You're giving your time to someone that will never. When somebody uses the term friend with benefit, they're basically saying, I trust you enough to give my body to you, but I'll never give you a commitment. Sure, I'll take you out to eat, but I got an underlying agenda too. I mean, I'm not making light of it, Queens, because I know some of y'all, that's your reality. But I'm going to tell you something. There's something in someone better, but you ain't going to get him. You can't have him. Nope, you can't have him until you decide to get back to you. I ain't gotta tell you that. That little girl inside you been yelling that for years. I got the voices in my head. That's your conscience. That's your discernment saying, don't get in that man's car. Don't go over that man's house. You know what he wants. But you go along with it. So you put a price tag on your worth every time you do. And why you think you feel confused when you're leaving? Because that spiritual disconnect grows even more because there ain't no respect there. That's the same thing that goes with you, kings. If you got to pay for your companionship, she ain't your friend. She just using what she needs to have access to your life. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Be your best friend first, y'all. That's all I'm saying. And I really believe next year is going to be a major breakthrough for a lot of you. But I realize that there's going to come some tears for some of y'all too, because some of y'all have a love affair with your denial. I know you are. You like, that ain't me, Gerald. I'm too smart. That'll never happen. But really, we all know that you've done worse. I know. We know. I done been there. You talking to a man that was a womanizer. I was. In my 20s, I went from one bad relationship, and I said, I'm never going to let another woman hurt me again. And I wouldn't let people in my life like that. And there were many, many. And I'm going to tell you what, there's been a many a night I didn't pray for repentance for people that I may have hurt. And I regret that because I know that it caused some bonds that, you know, I would have loved to see them grow. But I know that if it's divinely meant, God will always make a way when there is no way. And he's done nothing but that. But trust him, the days of setting my watch on who gonna call me or who am I gonna see? Nah, Gerald don't chase nobody. God, I let God reveal what I need to reveal. Because see, ultimately, Gerald had to go through his storm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the divine thing if that happens because all the broken edges, all the things you question, all the things that were not good for your life will be brought into review. And you will be forced to look at it. Oh, don't think that you can pick and choose what's going on. Uh-uh. All of it. There's no such thing as a perfect person. No, 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 no. We've all got our disappointments. We all have our shames. We all have our guilts. But are we learning from it? Are you learning? If you're just going through life by going on the flow, just making time because you're not living your life, you do yourself the disservice, not them. Because you allowed them in your life. And you got to look at it for what it is. So see your worth, right? You deserve it. Come on, man. You'll see. You'll see. We're gonna use this as a reference point. This time next year, I guarantee your life as you know it is not gonna be what you know it is. There's gonna be some shifts going on. And I know I'm talking to somebody right now. Somebody getting ready to have a baby. You don't even know you're pregnant, but you are. And what's crazy about it? It's gonna be the person that you said you thought you would never have anything to do with. But little did you know, they were who, that's what you needed. God wanted this person to be in your life. Because you got to remember something, y'all. When you come from your spiritual storm, two things come out of that. You learn to love your self-worth. You learn to treasure time. You learn to be vulnerable with yourself. And more importantly, you restructure your life completely. That's right. So you may be in a valley right now that you do not. You might be, I got this feeling right now, somebody saying, well, Gerald, I got a good job. I've got the aesthetical things that I need. I have my place where I reside. I have the amenities. I've got all that I need, but I don't have companionship. What about me? Let me tell you something. You can use those things to catch them, but you won't be able to keep them. And be confident when I tell you this. No, be careful what I say. My mouth is not working. Be careful who you allow in your house. I'm not saying that from a safety standpoint, but I am saying that from a spiritual standpoint. Because guess what? We all have spirits. And demons do like nothing more than to gain access that is not protected. That's why I always tell everybody, bring yourself some sage. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Some white sage. See this right here? Look. See this? Burn yourself some of that. So if there is some negative energy in your home, cedar's good too. It'll expose it. It'll expose it. It'll drive it right on out. So be careful when you do that on what you see. That ain't nothing but his angels trying to push that toxicity out of your life. You'll see. Because you deserve to be loved. And you deserve to be honored. But it starts with you. You gonna do the work? All right. I know you can do it. Love to hear from you guys. I know this was a little winded. I didn't want to, but I got this feeling you getting ready to go to the doctor because you need something for your nerves. And you're fighting with the truth. The truth is what's found inside you compared to what is validated outside. And you feel like your life is cut in half and you have two personalities. Well, in a way you were. No, you were. And you're trying to find balance. It starts off when you have that conversation with God. Give him your pains. Tell him what's going on. And watch him place his angels around your life. Now the trade-off is this. All those people that were there, those opportunities, they won't have access to you because they don't deserve to hear you breathe. But if you think you deserve to have the life of your dreams, place that foot down. Place that foot down. You'll be fine. You're going to be fine. All right, guys. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. And I mean it when I say this, y'all. Humble yourself and go get a second opinion. Stop listening to the advice your friends are giving. Because if their advice was so sound, wouldn't their lives be different? It wouldn't be about the talk would match the walk. If they just giving you lip service, they're doing you a disservice. Go talk to a therapist. Talk to a life coach. Talk to somebody that don't have an agenda, but only to make your life better. Because remember, worst thing can happen is they validate that you got it going on. You got it together. Or they show you something better. Waking up to another heartbreak, waking up to another disappointment, That ain't your life. So why you claiming it? Denial only lasts for so long. I ain't got to tell you that. Stay blessed.